Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira from Munira's Musings. We are here showcasing Mr. Michael D. Butler. Welcome to our show, Michael.
Munira, it's great to be here. Thanks for the invite. I've heard a lot of great things about you and the show, and it's an honor to be with you and your guests and your attendees today.
Well, thank you so much. Well, you know, we are here because we want to showcase you, and then we want to pick your brain and figure out how you figured out your niche. Because we know that you've got a lot of experience in the previously, and now you've come to this place where you are doing what you're supposed to do, and having found your purpose, you're helping other people find theirs too. Munira's Musings is a show that, you know, it's amazing because as a niche navigator, what we do is we bring people who have already found their niches and we talk about them and their journey to their niche. You know, this is an inspirational show because we want people who are still standing on the sidelines to take action and get off the sidelines and jump into the water with us, because we as an entrepreneur, we have the chance to make an impact on somebody else's life. What are you doing? So let's not waste many more time and let's get into what Mr. Michael Butler is going to share with us. So Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's great. It's great to be here. People call me a serial entrepreneur. You know, I did my first job when I was actually, my mom would take me. We lived in the country on the farm in Oklahoma, and I learned that you can make money collecting cans. And so literally she would drive me around the 4-mile square acreage of our home. And it wasn't a paved road. It was a dirt road at the time. And my brother and I would pick up cans and turn those in for money. And it was exciting to me because she was doing most of the work, driving the car and things, but we would be out in the hot sun sweating. And that was the first little job that taught me that labor and toil can bring you income. But it wasn't until I was 15. I ran an ad in the newspaper when I was 15, and I got 14 lawn mowing jobs and started a lawn mowing business. I had saved money and was able to buy a lawnmower, a push lawnmower, but I wasn't counting on the fact that I would get 15 lawns and that or 14 lawns, and that I wasn't old enough to drive. I didn't have a driver's license. So I actually had to hire my brother or my mom to drive me to go mow the lawns. And so we live in the most epic of times. We live in a time now with the internet and with social media that you can literally do business, coaching, consulting, speaking, selling books, selling programs, and literally writing business around the world. Truly, the world is flat, you know, and finding the power of your story. I was a kid that stuttered, and it was very uncomfortable for me when it came time to speak, and I overcame the stuttering as a child, you know, to go on a job interview, to speak to adults, to speak to people that were my potential employers. But my mom taught me something during that lawn mowing time as a teenager. She would make me get on the phone and call my customers and say, I won't be there today because it's raining. I will come tomorrow and mow your lawn. And Munira, it used to frustrate me because I didn't like picking up the phone. I didn't want to call Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Smith, but my mom says, you're going to pick up the phone and let them know what's going on. And I would say, Mom, they know it's raining. I'm not coming today. She taught me customer service. She taught me follow through. She taught me how to close the sale. She taught me how to upsell. The things my mom taught me, I would bring home papers from math and from English that were wrong in second and third grade when I'm 7 and 8 years old, and she would make me correct the mistakes. And I said, Mom, I already got graded on this. She said, I want you to get it right. I want you to know why you got it wrong and how you're going to get it right. And that sense of urgency My dad taught me to be early, and my mom taught me the follow through. And those things have helped me in business more than anything else. And to an entrepreneur, I want to say, you've got a question, and I want to hear that question, and then I'm going to continue to.
No, but the thing is, your mother and my mother must have been friends, because those two women, my mother drove us nuts, and she did the same thing for us. But that was the ethic building software, I think, or the hardware, because the way it came to you, either she was very soft or she was very hard. But she taught you ethics right there. And the fact is that nowadays, people don't realize that that kind of coaching, that kind of training builds the foundation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't by accident have 15,000 people in your network on LinkedIn. That took work. That took work ethic. And so for our parents to teach us work ethic, even though it looks different today than it did when they were children, I mean, you've had to work hard to build your network to 15,000 people on LinkedIn. But as I was preparing for this presentation this morning with you, I was thinking about the power of digital real estate. And real estate is really being able, as a business person in whatever country you're in, to predict the future. The story goes like this, that Sam Walton, as he was building Walmart all over America, he would get into his plane and he would fly to a city where he wanted to build his new store. And he would circle the city in his plane, and he would see where the construction was going. What direction was the construction going? Then he would land his plane in a nearby field, dressed in his overalls, dressed like a farmer, and he would go talk to the landowner and make an offer on a piece of land. And it's the same way with digital real estate. When you think the future, if we can predict the future and what the trends will be 6 months, 3 months, or even a month from now, we gain a benefit because we're capitalizing on this digital real estate that is ours for the taking. Because this is like I talk about in my book, Bestseller Status. I say the future belongs to those who get there first. And that if the internet were a baseball game, we're only in the top of the first inning. You literally, Munira, as you know, can control the future if you know what your lane is. And if you pick your keywords early, and you start talking about that and start interviewing people around your area of expertise, you can monetize for life. Yep.
That's amazing that you say that, because the thing is, now everybody in this world is becoming a coach. And then you see that revolution happening, and everybody you come across is a coach. So how do you know who is right, who is wrong? And it's so hard, even though you have digitalized and you have the real estate like LinkedIn and Instagram and everything. How do you really know who is the right person for you?
Great question. So here's what I tell my clients is, before you invest in other coaches, invest in yourself. Buy every book there is to buy on the topic that you're wanting to drill down into. You might find that you're already an expert in a niche and you need to write a book around your niche, because nobody's written a great how-to book on how to exploit your niche and how to monetize it. So the other thing would be, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. Women are better at this than men because they're very intuitive. They've got that spiritual dimension a lot of times that they're tapped into. Whereas guys, we're more hunter-gatherer mode. We're more reactionary. That's the reason more guys struggle with anger issues, whereas women are natural nesters. They're natural nurturers, and they're better at preparing and planning. Overall, women are better at saving money and having intuition about the future. But if men can learn to turn this off and turn our brawn and our brute off and turn it into our heart and listen to what we're really good at, listen to our creator, because we were created with the divine purpose and a divine thumbprint, and learn. Don't worry about your weaknesses. focus on your strength, because with your strengths, you can monetize and you can set your family up for generations. So if you're reinventing right now, if you pivoted because of the pandemic, or if you're trying to figure out what you're good at, maybe you're in college and you're trying to figure out what you're good at because you like doing more than one thing. And here's the interesting thing, Munira, you know this being a niche expert, that 80% of the jobs that our children will work haven't even been invented yet. And
True.
people my age will change careers 8 times in their lifetime. And guess what? Things are changing so rapidly. But when it comes down to core values, when it comes down to soft skills, when it comes down to communication and writing, being able to write, being able to communicate, being able to follow up and be kind, and being able to write a resume, because if you're going into the job market, you've got to know how to handle an interview. You got to know how to prepare a professional resume, right? You've got to know how to negotiate benefits and wages, but you've also got to be able to ask for the job, you know?
True that, very true. But coming back to what you said, writing, right? You are the writing king. You help publish books. You're a writer yourself. Now, how did you ever have a corporate job? Did you come into, how did you just segue into your career, and how did you find your niche?
What's very interesting, because I've always been fascinated with history. I've always loved studying history, particularly, you know, growing up in the U.S., as I was blessed to do. I was able to learn U.S. history and how quickly America grew, and it was because of the Transcontinental Railroad. And here's what happened, back to my digital real estate metaphor, is Andrew Carnegie bought up all the land across the United States on either side of the railroad. So as you're looking at what you want to monetize, how you can become laser focused in a niche, be it coaching, be it speaking, be it book writing, be it all of the above, your primary vertical, your primary business, how do you exploit that and become the best there is? Not just to start a company, but to dominate in an industry and to create a new blue ocean, a new vertical that allows other people to fill that space. But because you're there first, you are the category creator. So I would notice that in history, that Andrew Carnegie bought up on the land on either side of the railroad, made him the richest man in America. He became the steel man. Everybody had to go to him to buy their steel, to build their buildings. But he was first really, really smart with real estate. So ask yourself this question: what am I good at? What have I done before? What is my passion? How can I monetize my passion? To answer your question, Munira, for me, after Bible college and seminary, I did 14 years of pastoral ministry. I was a pastor in church, in a Christian church, primarily in the U.S. and some overseas travel. But after about 14 years of that, my wife and I went through a divorce, and my sons were young, and I needed more income. So I looked at network marketing, and I found network marketing and direct sales as a great way to develop people. I love putting people on stages. I love giving people the microphone. And I told my representatives back then, all my distributors, adopt a nonprofit, get on stage, and publish a book. Those were the 3 things. And that is what evolved into me starting a PR firm, and us eventually starting a publishing company. So that's kind of my career evolution. We continue to get people on stages. We've published 400 titles in the last 4 years for authors in 20 different countries. And it's really about the power of story, but you can monetize your passion. You've got to look at the industry, know the industry, play devil's advocate, ask all the questions. If you're doing a startup, you need a board of advisors. You need a mastermind of people around you that have either done it before, they've built a similar business, they know how to get funding, they know how to build teams, they know how to create revenue. Because at the end of the day, you need a day job to support your dream. You might have a dream, but at the end of the day, if it's not paying the bills, you need to keep your day job until you can get the wheels turning on the business. That's how we started the publishing company. It's how I advise my clients to start their companies. And it's the best way to get funding is to have a revenue model in beta that you're beta testing. You can tweak it, give the customer exactly what they want. And listen, If you build a better widget, if you come up with a better way to do something, it's all about speed to market now. It's all about speed of implementation, and you can dominate and have fun doing it.
That's an amazing thing. So do people come work with you before you start they start writing a book, or do they come after they've written a book?
Well, you know what? It works both ways. We have a team of 20 ghostwriters, and about half of all of our books now we're writing through ghostwriters. And our team of ghostwriters will ghostwrite the book in 100 days. And within the first month of somebody coming to us, we're already marketing their book and pre-selling their book on the internet. We're pre-selling the book. So if they come to us with a book idea, we might tear up the idea, throw it in the trash, and start over. And a lot of times when a customer comes to us, it's their memoirs. They've gone through pain, they've gone through a divorce, a bankruptcy, they've lost a child or something tragic. And while they've been writing on that, they may think they're going to publish their memoirs about that. But the truth is, the memoirs are the slowest moving category of books in the book space. And the fastest moving category of books in the book space are fiction and how-to books. So if you're writing a nonfiction book with your memoirs, let's talk about embedding it into a how-to book and put the 5 truths you learn, or the 5 pillars, or the 4 things for action to help people know how to respond, how to improve their credit, how to improve their relationships, how to improve their finances, how to raise kids, how to blend a family. Those are how to do a startup, how to get funding, how to go public with your company. Those are the kinds of questions people are typing into Google. But I got to tell you that fiction is number one. And a lot of times we'll write a metaphorical fiction that ties into a character where we can literally put somebody on stage, and regardless of what's trending in the media, they can get on stage and they can speak on that topic. And so we do give free book consults at meetmichaeld.com. If any of your viewers have got a book idea, they can go to meetmichaeld.com. In fact, I'll change my name to Meet Michael D here in a moment, and they can jump on my calendar if they have an idea for a book. We'll give them a free consult and feedback on books, because that's what we do. We do books. And, Munira, a lot of people thought the internet killed publishing, but in fact, readership is up globally. And even in the pandemic, it's multiplied that much more. People are consuming information now more than ever.
It's a sponge, right? Everybody is sponging it up. Now, let me ask you this. You have a nonprofit that you are working, and it's something to do with Pakistan. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. And I'll just say that on that topic of people reading books, 76% of books in English are bought and read outside of the U.S. And the fact is, if somebody's writing a book in the U.S. and they're self-publishing, the average self-published author never sells more than 200 books. So the thing to realize, who you're writing, you got to know who your customer is, who is your avatar, who's going to read the book. It's one thing to read a book, but if you actually want to sell books, and it's a lot funner to sell books by the box load and the truckload than it is one-off. And we show you how to do that. But to answer your question, we do have a nonprofit that helps kids that have been trafficked in Asia, particularly in Pakistan, at 1040impact.org. We've been able to help over 100 kids that we're feeding, we're clothing. They're in 2 orphanages there, and we've taken all of our board members to Pakistan in the last 2 years through 3 different trips, and we're educating the older girls that are 17, 18, 19 so that they can have a cosmetology degree. We've already graduated the first set of female students from that school. They're now gainfully employed, because the downside in Pakistan, because if you're a Christian child in Pakistan, if you're a Christian in Pakistan, you can't go to college, and you can only work as a street sweeper or a prostitute or own your own business. And so the fact that we're getting them educated into cosmetology, the girls are able to be gainfully employed, and they're actually help sponsor the younger girls that are growing up. So we have a full-time staff on the ground that we've been working with for 5 years, and they're doing a wonderful job educating the kids, teaching them to read, write, math, arithmetic, and the life skills that they're going to need to be gainfully employed once they age out.
Awesome, awesome.
Mhm.
Now, why did you start that? Why did you start this in Pakistan? Why not any other country?
Well, we just had a lot of response and a lot of people reaching out to us from there, and we knew that the need was great, and we knew that they still struggle. There's a lot of persecution there. There's a lot of all faiths are being persecuted there in Pakistan, and so the human rights issue is a big issue there, particularly for children that have been trafficked.
Thank you so much for this thing. It's really amazing that people are, even in this day and age, that people are selling people. So slavery is not done, even though it's done. It's still not done, right?
There's a lot of work to do. No.
Yeah, you're right. Well, thank you so much, Michael. You have been such an inspiration. I mean, I didn't have to ask you all these questions. You just gave me all the information and advice. Like if you're an entrepreneur and want to start a business and looking to figure out what you want to do, please, please, please look us up. The thing is, all you have to do is take your idea, and like Michael said, take your ideas and make sure that you are implementing those. Take inventory of your skills and figure out what you can do. And then he talked about real estate. So how can you be first to where you're going? And you never know, it could be something that would change your life, right? How do people find you, Michael?
Well, my website is michaeldbutler.com, michaeldbutler.com. There's a link to my website on that. And, for somebody to truly be great, it's a matter of educating yourself and deciding you're going to do something great with your life. I recommend reading. Readers are leaders. It's impossible to do innovative things, creative things that are going to change the world and really leave an impact, because at the end of your life, you want your family around, your children around, your grandchildren, realizing that you made an impact and you left the world a better place. So jump on my calendar for free. I'll give you a free consult at michaeldbutler.com. Would love to hear your book idea, if you got a book question, and to hear if your book's ready for market. Munira, keep up the great work. I'm just amazed at the work you've been able to do, and you're still connected globally. And so congrats on your podcast and all the great things you're doing this year.
Thank you so much, Michael. With that, we're going to have to shut this down because, although it's something that we want to talk about, but the thing is that we have to keep in mind time, and Michael is a busy guy, so we have to let him go. But be tuned in, because next week we have another guest with another perspective on how to change your niche or get to your niche. You never know what you're going to learn, so please tune in. Thank you, everybody. If you like this, please share, like, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next week.